Peace and greetings to the East family. This is Illuminati Light, and I'm your host, Majesty Montanez. So here what I'm going to show y'all on this episode is an Enter the Apprentice initiation ritual, but from the Masonic working style of what is known as Grand Orient Masonry, which is a Masonic order. And I'll explain more about that perhaps as we progress. So if you are a Freemason of a certain Masonic order, this is good information for you to be familiar with, because the rituals of Freemasonry are not identical everywhere, but they are very similar. So I'll play this. The ritual is in Spanish, right? Because this is from a lodge of Spanish Freemasons. I don't mean from Spain particularly, but of the Spanish speaking language. So let me play this and I'll explain different aspects of the ritual as we go along. So here you have a candidate for initiation who is being approached by an officer of the lodge who is about to bring him into what is known as the chamber of reflection. And in all of esoteric Freemasonry, we have what is known as the chamber of reflection in our initiation rituals. In social club Freemasonry, for the most part, they don't use what is known as a chamber of reflection. So here, this officer of the lodge is bringing the candidate into the chamber of reflection. So now the candidate is in the chamber of reflection, and what he's about to do is write out what is known as his philosophical will. Now, when you observe the chamber of reflection, if you're not familiar with this, the chamber of reflection is a small room that is filled with symbols of death. The objective is to bring to your mind your mortality, which is necessary for you to begin your path of initiation into the ancient mysteries. So here on this table, you see a skull, you see a candle, and also you see the candidate writing out his philosophical will. In real life, if you were truly facing your immortality, you would write what is known as a will in preparation for your death. So that's what the candidate was doing, writing out his philosophical will, because initiation into the ancient mysteries and Freemasonry is about mystical death and resurrection. So here, an officer of the lodge came to the door and he was speaking to the Tyler outside of the inner door in regards to the candidate desiring to receive the light of Freemasonry. And we'll talk more about different aspects of it as we progress. So here, long story short, the candidate is expressing his desire to be initiated into Freemasonry and to receive the light or the spiritual light of Freemasonry. All right, so now the candidate is about to be duly and truly received into Freemasonry. And notice too, if you're from America, you'll notice that certain things are different in regards to what you may have experienced in your own lodge. But anyway, now the candidate is making his circumambulation, which in Grand Orient Masonry consists of sometimes 3 circuits around the lodge and sometimes 4. So what's happening now is that you just saw he stepped over stones or rocks, and that's what we would call the test or trial of the earth. So the candidate is going to be tried by the 4 elements of the ancient mysteries: earth, air, fire, water. That's what's going on. And when he first entered, I think you may have seen, if you were paying attention, that the members of the lodge were sitting on the sideline. They were clashing together their swords, and that has symbolic significance also. So anyway, the candidate made his first of several circumambulations and was tried by the element of earth, right? So at this point, the worshipful master, the brother that you see right there talking, he's explaining to him what that represented. So now the candidate was just tested by the element of water. His hand was placed in the basin of water. So he continued to circumambulate the lodge. And a lot of this is edited, so don't mind that. It'll give you a good idea of ritualistic initiation as it's practiced in what we call Grand Orient Masonry, which is not social club masonry at all. It is an order of esoteric Freemasonry. So now the candidate is continuing to circumambulate the lodge. Now here, he is being tried by the element of fire, and he continues to circumambulate the lodge. Now, this particular video won't show the next part, which is when he's tried by the element of air, which is simply done by exposing him to either a fan or an actual fan or a manual fan. But you get the idea. So the worshipful master right here is explaining to him at a basic level the symbolic significance of being tried by the element of fire. So that's what the circumambulation consists of in Grand Orient Freemasonry. Now what's going to happen now is that the candidate is going to be brought back into the antechamber, dressed back up in his regular clothes. You see he's dressed in his regular clothes again. He's still blindfolded. And now what the worshipful master is expressing is that the candidate is about to receive the light in Freemasonry. So he's asked, what do you most desire in your present state of darkness? And he has stated light. And now he receives the light. Now notice, if you're in America, for the most part, you'll already know that when you receive the light, you see the Bible, the compass, and square on the altar of the lodge in the center of the lodge. And that's not what happens in Grand Orient Masonry. In Grand Orient Masonry, the Bible, the compass, and the square are in the east in front of the worshipful master station. So you'll see that the candidate doesn't experience being brought to the light in the same way as we normally would be in America. Right? So anyway, now what's happening is that the candidate is being presented with his apron. That's what's going on at this point in the initiation ritual. So he's being presented with his apron, and he's being told what the apron symbolizes in Freemasonry, and that it is the main badge of a Freemason. That's what's happening here. And notice also, when you look at this particular apron, this is not particularly accurate, because the flap of the apron should be a triangle, not a cut off triangle as you see it here. But anyway, he's been presented with the apron, and the worshipful master steps to the center of the lodge with the rest of the members, and now they're forming what is called